Veterinarian Gregg Adams wants to probe the deepest mysteries of fertility.
We're getting pretty good depth.
That means long days of hands-on work with animals, hours at the computer, and lately at the Canadian Light Source Synchrotron at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, planning for a new and powerful tool that will let scientists see deeper into living creatures than ever before.
Who could ever have guessed that we would be milking goats as a kid and working with the world's biggest X-ray machine when you grow up?
So how does a boy who simply wanted to grow up to be a vet find himself working on one of the most advanced scientific projects in the world? Well, that's the story of Gregg Adams.
I wanted to be a veterinarian from as long as I can remember.
Today, wild deer at the U of S native hoofstock facility near Saskatoon are Gregg's study subject of the day. With the help of his graduate student, Rob McCorkle, the wild deer are herded inside for testing.
Good. Got him.
The task? To determine which deer are pregnant. Using some of the newer tools of the trade to see right inside the animal.
So there's the bladder that's full of urine, but no, not pregnant. How's she doing? And one of the first tools I used was ultrasonography. It's a method of imaging. It was a whole new world. I was like a kid in a candy store because we could see inside the animal without hurting the animal. And we could see the babies moving, we could see the heart beating, we could measure its growth. So that was my first experience with technology.
It was not to be his last. Gregg's work on fertility as part of a U of S team showed that, like cows, women ovulate in waves, often more than once a month. That was declared one of the top 100 discoveries of 2003. Now Gregg is ready to break more new ground, and it's partly because one of the biggest scientific projects in Canadian history opened up just a 2-minute walk from his office.
And I thought, well, I have this incredible tool right outside our back door. So I thought I'd better learn a little bit more about it.
What he learned was the potential of the synchrotron to open up research in an almost limitless range of fields. That's because a synchrotron has multiple beam lines, carrying beams of light that can be dedicated to different research areas. A biomedical line could shed light on Gregg's own work in fertility, help diagnose and treat cancer, image the progression of arthritis, and much more.
It's like a whole renaissance. We get to look at all these old questions all over again because now we can see them really deeply and really clearly. Dino!
Gregg helped convince synchrotron expert Dean Chapman to move to Saskatchewan from the U.S., and the rest is that they plan to make history, to build BEAMIT, the biomedical imaging and therapy beamline. Helping them do it are Emil Haleen, Beamline Development Leader, Tim Haubrick, the Project Manager, Colleen Christensen, the Project Coordinator, and a team of about 60 scientists from across Canada, the US, and Australia. So far, there are only 2 such beamlines in the world, and neither of them generally image anything larger than a rabbit or a mouse. Gregg's plan for BEAMIT is slightly more ambitious.
Personally, I want to be able to put a cow in there. And Dean always shakes his head every time I say this. He says, Gregg, I don't know how we're going to do that, but I want to see the egg inside the follicle, inside the ovary, inside the cow, a live cow.
That's a tall order. They have to consider just how you get a healthy 1,000-pound animal to stay still for its X-ray image.
She's in, Rob.
A tough task, considering it's hard enough to keep a deer in a conventional.
Okay. That's just like the synchrotron. We have the electrons going around our corral here. We let some out here, turn them bend, make photons, and fire right down our biomedical imaging and therapy beamline. What do you think?
The plan is for BEAMIT to be ready sometime in 2007. And while there have been times it seemed like an impossible task, that's never mattered to Gregg.
You know, some people are motivated by different things, and I think when I hear can't, then I just want to do it then.
And Gregg's enthusiasm is spreading.
Definitely going to put a cow in this thing, yes. And a horse. And a llama.
It seems one thing is as clear as synchrotron light. BEAMIT at the Canadian Light Source Synchrotron in Saskatoon is going to happen. Gregg Adams can already see it.
The biomedical imaging therapy beamline is going to be right out the front and shine off in that direction.
For Research News at the University of Saskatchewan, I'm Jennifer Weber.